Welcome to Business Undercurrent. Today, we're diving into one of the most dramatic market shifts in automotive history, the great EV disruption. For over a decade, Tesla was the undisputed king of the electric vehicle space. But in 2025, something unprecedented happened. Tesla lost its crown as the world's #1 EV maker. The story of why this happened reveals much deeper truths about innovation, strategy, and the future of global competition. We are now seeing Chinese companies completely rewrite the rules of the automotive industry. And let's be clear, this isn't just about cheap cars anymore. It's a story of superior execution, incredible speed, and strategic market capture. Throughout this analysis, we'll explore what this shift means for the global market and uncover the surprising lessons every business leader needs to understand. This change is happening faster than anyone predicted. So let's start by looking at the company that defined the EV era and is now struggling to keep up. The headline is stark. Tesla's 2025 sales fell 8.6% to 1.64 million vehicles, marking the second consecutive year of decline. Worryingly, this decline is accelerating, not stabilizing, steepening from a 3.2% drop in 2024 to a 7% drop in 2025. But perhaps the most significant data point is the 6% decline in its domestic sales in China. This is the first time Tesla has ever seen a sales drop in its second-largest market, signaling a major shift in consumer preference. The reasons for this are becoming clear. Tesla's core products, the Model 3 and Model Y, are aging, and there are no significant new models in the immediate pipeline to generate fresh excitement. Meanwhile, competitors are flooding the market with new and compelling offerings every few months. To make matters worse, the expiration of the $7,500 US tax credit removed a major price advantage that had propped up sales. Essentially, Tesla is facing a perfect storm of internal stagnation and intense external competition. This concerning trajectory shows that the market is no longer willing to wait for the original innovator to innovate. So the natural question is, who is taking advantage of this historic decline? The answer is BYD, which officially took the crown in 2025. BYD sold an incredible 2.26 million electric vehicles, surpassing Tesla in annual sales for the very first time. That represents a strong 28% increase from the previous year. And if you include their plug-in hybrids, BYD's total sales reached a massive 4.55 million units. What's truly impressive, however, is their global expansion. In 2025, BYD exported over 1 million vehicles, marking a staggering 145% increase year-over-year. As a prime example, the UK became BYD's biggest market outside of China, with sales surging by an unbelievable 880%. However, it's important to note that even BYD's growth rate is beginning to slow down. This was actually their weakest growth rate in 5 years, largely because of the fierce competition within China's domestic market. So the story isn't that BYD will dominate forever, but rather that the market has become intensely competitive, and Chinese companies are winning with aggressive pricing and rapid product launches. But BYD isn't the only Chinese company rewriting the rules. This is where the story gets genuinely surprising. What we call the Xiaomi Shock. Xiaomi, a smartphone company, entered the automotive sector and became profitable in just 19 months. For perspective, it took Tesla 10 years to reach that same milestone. Let that incredible speed sink in for a moment. Xiaomi delivered over 400,000 vehicles in 2025, only 1 year after launching their first model, and they're targeting 550,000 for 2026. Their factories are now producing one car every 76 seconds. So how did a smartphone company achieve what took an automotive pioneer a decade? They didn't try to invent everything from scratch. Instead, they watched what worked, systematically copied the best features from competitors, and then improved upon them. Their first car, the SU7, received 90,000 orders in just 24 hours. Their second car, the YU7, which directly targets the Tesla Model Y, received an astonishing 289,000 orders in a single hour. This is strategic execution at a scale we have never seen before. Now let's look at just how the YU7 stacks up against the Model Y. The head-to-head comparison is brutal for Tesla. The Xiaomi YU7 doesn't just match the Model Y, it beats it in almost every measurable aspect. For starters, the YU7 accelerates from 0 to 100 km per hour in just 3.2 seconds, a full half-second faster than the Model Y. It also offers a significantly longer range of 835 kilometers compared to the Model Y's 593. When it comes to charging, the YU7 can go from 10 to 80% in only 15 minutes, which is roughly half the time it takes the Model Y. And then there's the price, which is a substantial difference: $46,000 for the Xiaomi versus $57,000 for the Tesla. That's nearly 20% cheaper for what is, on paper, a genuinely superior product. This is the result of a strategy Xiaomi calls Shanzhai 2.0. They deconstruct the best products on the market, source the best components from around the world, and then recombine everything to create an improved version. Crucially, they inherited world-class supply chains from their time in the smartphone industry, working with companies that used to build iPhones. The result isn't a cheap knockoff, but a better product at a lower price. But is this incredible success happening in a growing market, or is the entire EV sector actually slowing down? We've seen how Chinese companies are executing better and faster than their Western rivals. But this raises a critical question. Is EV demand actually collapsing? The short answer is no, but the market is definitely changing. Globally, over 1 in 4 cars sold in 2025 were electric, which amounts to a solid 25% market share. The EV market is still growing, but the pace is slowing down significantly. After seeing 23% growth in 2024, analysts are now projecting only 12% growth for 2026. This deceleration is what many are calling the EV winter. But it's not a collapse, it's a sign of maturation. Government subsidies are expiring, fierce price wars are hurting profitability, and the most developed markets are becoming saturated. But here's the crucial detail. Growth is now being driven by emerging markets. In fact, over a quarter of all new cars sold in those regions are now electric. So the story isn't that people stopped wanting EVs. It's that the market is maturing, competition is intensifying, and the new winners will be the companies that can execute efficiently at a global scale. This shift in growth drivers points to a much larger structural change happening in the auto industry. The EV winter and the rise of companies like BYD and Xiaomi signal something much bigger than just a change in the auto industry. What we are witnessing is the end of Western dominance in the global automotive sector. Chinese companies now control over 60% of the global EV market, and they are expanding aggressively into Europe and other emerging markets. Meanwhile, legacy Western automakers are struggling. Most are actually losing money on their EV divisions because they simply cannot compete on price and speed. The Chinese advantage is structural, and it goes far beyond lower labor costs. It's about agility. Chinese firms can bring a new model from concept to launch in just 18 to 24 months. In contrast, Western incumbents often take years due to complex supply chains and bureaucratic processes. This speed advantage allows them to iterate quickly based on real-time market feedback. They also have a structural cost advantage that lets them aggressively undercut competitors without sacrificing their margins. The question is no longer whether Chinese companies will dominate the EV market. It's about how quickly Western automakers can adapt to this new reality. This profound structural shift brings us to our final key takeaways. Let's wrap up with 5 strategic lessons that apply far beyond the automotive industry. First, speed beats first-mover advantage. Tesla was first, but Xiaomi proved you just need to be fast and execute better, reaching profitability in 19 months compared to Tesla's 10 years. Second, strategic copying is a legitimate strategy. The key is not just to copy, but to understand what works, source the best components, and improve the final product, which is exactly how Xiaomi built a superior car. Third, market disruption accelerates faster than you think. Just a few years ago, Tesla's dominance seemed unassailable. Today, it's being challenged on multiple fronts. Fourth, emerging markets are now the primary growth drivers. Where growth happens often matters more than the total market size, and Chinese companies currently have the edge in these crucial regions. Finally, execution beats innovation in a mature market. The Xiaomi YU7 isn't built on revolutionary new technology. It's the excellent execution of existing technology at a superior price point. These lessons are critical for any business navigating a rapidly changing global landscape. Thank you for watching Business Undercurrent.